Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher. Welcome to Sweetwater's iOS update. This time out, a remote control app for Studio One. Let's get started. Our app today is Studio One Remote, a remote control app that runs on an iOS device, connects by Wi-Fi to a computer that's running PreSonus Studio One DAW software. To use Studio One Remote requires just two things. The first is that you must be running Studio One version 3.01 or higher on your Mac or your PC. And the second is your iOS device and your computer must be on the same Wi-Fi network. Now once they're on the same Wi-Fi network and you launch the remote app, it'll show up here and it'll scan the network looking for versions of Studio One that are running. Here's my computer here, so if I select that, it'll open up and it automatically connects into the main screen inside of Studio One. At this point, we basically have a direct connection between what's happening in the app and what's happening in the computer. We can run the transport, so we've got a play button down here. You can see it's playing back inside my computer. The meters work both ways, so it's also working as an extended screen. We have control over the faders. We can double click to return to zero. We can pan. We can go into record. We can mute. We can solo. We can clear, mute, and solo. Stop playback. Return to beginning. We have a control here for the loop, so you can turn the looping function on and off. We can access the tempo. We can access the time signature. We can also add markers and look at a list of markers using these two controls down here. We have undo and redo. We can look at things in either in bars and beats, or we can look at them in minutes and seconds. Using the timeline at the top of the screen, we can easily locate wherever we want in our song. And we can also pinch to expand that to zoom in, so it's very easy to accurately locate to exactly where you want to be. We have several displays as far as this main mixer window goes. We can look at the faders here. We can also look at inserts, and if we have a plugin installed, we can click on that, and we can access the different parameters for that plugin. We can jump back here. We can also look at our sends for that particular channel. Here's one that's feeding our guitar reverb, and that's also displaying our channel over here, so we still have access to that. We can also look at a Q mix for that channel. So here's our Q mix, and this is looking at Q1. We can also switch over and look at Q2. So we have very comprehensive control over what's happening inside the mixer. We can also expand channels, so we can see everything that's happening there at once. And we can access macros, which is a new feature in Studio One version 3. So if we click on that, the macro screen will open up. You can see that the macro window has opened here inside the computer as well. And now we can make those adjustments. And we also have an XY pad that we can use for adjusting parameters as well. We can also access a long list of commands inside of Studio One, and we do that using the commands window. And there are several pages here. Here we're looking at the transport window, so we can access return to zero, we can stop, we can toggle the start, we can go into record mode. But we also can look at the view menu. So here we can open things up, we can look at the console, we can look at the editor, we can look at the inspector. So we have access to all those here. We can switch over and have commands for the actual console. We have event commands, edit commands, automation, and we can also scroll through those and look at all the commands this way as well. So we have direct access to a lot of different commands inside Studio One. And we can edit that command list using the edit button here, position the commands exactly where we want, add new commands, so it's very easy to customize that to how you like to work in Studio One. I hope you've enjoyed this look at the Studio One app from PreSonus. It's an awesome free app for taking charge of Studio One running in your computer, whether you're tracking, mixing, editing, mastering, whatever you're doing, you have a great deal of control, and it also serves as an extended desktop for you. Really a nice app to add to your collection if you're using Studio One as your DAW. Thanks for joining me for Sweetwater's iOS update. Be sure to tune in next time. We'll have more apps, more hardware accessories, and more tech tips on making music with your iOS devices. I'm Mitch Gallagher.